episode of For the Love of Marketing. I hope everybody is doing great. I am Namrita, that is Simon. Hi, Simon.
Hey,
How are
Nam, how you
you?
doing? Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
I'm
How's things?
still enjoying the weather. Um, yeah. So June is the Pride month. So happy Pride month to everybody. Um, yeah, I think it is a very important month. I honestly love the Pride parades and all my memories about being associated with this community for a very long time in my college and getting to know more and more people. And yeah, something very controversial that happens every Pride month, and especially for brands, is whether or not to, put a rainbow on their logo, and how many colors in that logo, what all to do with the Pride month, like how to market to Pride month. And that's a very big discussion that goes on. Some people find it infuriating when brands do that. And yeah, so basically, what do you feel about brands having this approach to marketing during the Pride month, during June?
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, yeah, equality and diversity are really important to me. They always have been before I ever really knew the labels for things. I think it's critically important to me that everyone gets to lead their best life, right? I think that's the main rule in life, right? You have one life and you should be able to lead that any way that you choose. That's my personal view. However, as marketers, some of us have a habit of jumping on the bandwagon, right? There's a trend, let's be part of that trend, right? Now, Pride Month is not a trend. I don't like the term trend being associated with an important movement. I think that's wrong. There are certain things that happen in society that are there because they need to be there. They need to raise awareness of something that is an issue in society. And certainly there are a number of those around racism and gender equality, and of course here we are with Pride Month as well. There's a number that need to stay focused because they need to shift the needle and draw attention to something. And I think where someone is genuinely making an effort and doing something to support that community, I think that's great, and being able to demonstrate that they're doing that as part of that community, I think is a fantastic thing to do. And I think for Pride Month, brands that are genuinely embracing it, taking some action, making some kind of contribution to the community, supporting it genuinely in their values, and many people who have heard me talk for many years will have heard me use the word authentic a lot, and I think that's important. If you're authentically doing something to support this community, then by all means, if you want to change your logo to a rainbow logo and show your support, that's great. Doing absolutely nothing at all, except maybe putting a social post out and changing your logo, is, I think, disgraceful. I think it's trying to jump on the bandwagon and trying to use a movement to reflect a value of your business that perhaps doesn't really authentically exist. And I think I think it's wrong, personally. That's my view on that. I mean, you know me, I don't like to speak too strongly about things. I like to be quite passive, but for me, this is one that I think is just wrong. So yeah, I think rainbow washing is not something that should be tolerated. Obviously the concept of rainbow washing is as you know, ultimately effectively what I'm talking about, right? Riding on the back of the trend and using a rainbow logo or talking about the society as if you're doing something when you're not, and just flagging it up as something you're part of when you're not really. So I think brands, if they are making a conscious effort to do something about it, then by all means demonstrate that. If you're not, then don't. And you don't have to, by the way. Not every brand in the world has to be doing something for Pride Month, okay? I think if you can, that's great, but it's not something every company can or should do, right? And I think if you can, that's a really good thing to do. But I mean, we don't, if I'm honest with you, we don't do anything for Pride Month, as you know now. We are a small organization, and we're not able to do that. We try within our values to be very diverse and equal in what we do. but I wouldn't go so far as to say we do anything specifically for Pride Month. So we don't change our logo. We don't pretend we're doing anything for Pride Month, because that wouldn't be the right thing to do. So, you know, for me, that is very frustrating for people, and I get that. I think brands pretending to be part of something that they're not is frustrating. I think anyone doing that should take a good hard look at their marketing strategy and say, okay, if we want to keep doing this, we actually need to make some proper effort to do something for Pride Month and contribute to the community and the movement. And if we're not going to do that, then we need to stop pretending that we're going to do that. So so that's my view.
I think this is something that needs to be reflected throughout the year with little things rather than 1 month.
Great point.
Going all out on it. Like simple things, like when we are making graphics, we can try to be more inclusive of people of different races, of different identities, and small little things rather than, you know, just once a month kind of thing. It can, support is lifelong, I think.
Yeah, no, that's right. So if it's one of your values, it should be within your business all the time. Otherwise, it's not one of your values, right? A value is not something you can talk about for 1 month of the year and then forget for the rest of the year, right? It needs to be something that you genuinely live and breathe. And keep in mind that a brand is ultimately a personality. That's what it is, right? If a company was a person, their brand would be their personality, how they dress, what they think, what they feel, what's important to them, and their values are part of that. And we all as individuals have our own values, and we live and breathe those values every day, right? Maybe some extent more and some extent less every day, but our values don't come and go. They stay the same all the time. And the company's values need to be the same. They need to be genuinely what that company is about, and they need to live and breathe it all year round, as you say now, which is an absolutely brilliant point. So absolutely, in the images, in our behaviors, in our hiring policies, in everything we do, how we treat our staff, all of that should be living and breathing the values that we have. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic point.
Yeah. This question, next question is about how marketers can make a difference through their work. Like a lot of marketers are stuck in corporates that maybe not genuinely supporting these values or have different perspectives on that. So as a marketer who's working, and how can we make a difference?
There's lots of different ways. Yeah, I think one is the conversation we just had around, you know, if you're not, if you want to be part of the movement, and your business is saying it is, and you're not really doing it, I think you're standing up perhaps as a representative for the community within your business, and trying to make a difference within the values of the company, I think would be a great thing to do. That doesn't just apply to marketers, that applies to anyone. But I think, you know, one of the advantages we have in marketing today is we are much closer to data and trends. And when I say trends, I'm not talking about the Pride movement. I mean any consumer trends, how consumers are behaving and thinking, and the data that comes back from that. You know, we see these things a lot more than many other departments in the business do, because of our access to that sort of data and that behavioral information. So as a result, we can then take action on that within the organization. So, you know, we can influence policy, we can influence culture, we can influence HR by taking movements to them. So you know, I think as marketers, if we see these things and we see that there's a potential or an actual negative impact on our company because of our behavior around this, either because we're doing it and we shouldn't be, or we're not doing it and we should be, then you can take that and try and make a difference within the organization from what you know. Often marketers are quite creative as well. Depending on your role, you may or may not be quite creative. You, of course, are very creative now, but we're not all as creative as you, but certainly we have most marketers have the ability to sell a message in one way or another, and you can sell that internally as much as you can sell it externally. So, you know, I would say stand up within your organization, be counted. You know, make sure that your voice is heard if this is something that you're passionate about. You know, make sure that your company is not rainbow washing, and make sure that internally you can support those values truly coming through in what happens. So that's what I would suggest. And if there are, I think supporting Pride is a great thing to do. So if you can do it, and supporting generally the community as a whole is a great thing to do. If there are ways that you can do that through marketing, through genuinely looking at product development, genuinely looking at customer experience and things you can improve across the board with whatever segment you're in, then I'd suggest stand up and champion that.
Yeah, and I think support should not be something that you should feel pressured to show. If you have genuine support, it is always there. And in India, there's a saying that says, like, when you do something good, when you feel something, you do something good, you do not need to tell everybody about that. So it is okay to keep it to yourself and believe in that values and emulate it in your day-to-day life. But yeah, you don't have that pressure to do something about it all the time. We talked about how brands get their marketing wrong for Pride, but are there any examples of brands getting it correct that you would like to share? Or
Sure. I mean, I think there are a number of good examples of brands are playing in that space. I think one brand that anyone who's spent any time talking to me on meetings with me or looking at the background of my office will know that I love is Lego. I think obviously not too long ago they were named the greatest brand in the world. I think there's a lot of really good things that Lego do. I think they're a fantastic business in so many different ways, not just because they make some really cool Star Wars Lego, but I think generally as a brand, they've done so many great things. And obviously over recent years, moving into a lot more into games and movies, it really built the brand up beyond what it was when I was a kid, certainly. So I think the great piece they did most recently, and I think we talked about this on the blog, on my blog recently, was the everyone is awesome piece, which is really nice. So Everything is Awesome, of course, is that song from the movie, which is such a great movie. I'm a huge fan of that movie. It's really brilliant. Their movies are hilarious. I don't know who writes them, but they're a genius. So that movie was absolutely brilliant. And I think their inclusivity piece around everyone is awesome. I think is a great message. I think taking that's a good thing for people to learn, is associating your brand in a way that genuinely means something, right? They haven't called themselves Lego Pride or anything like that. They haven't just changed their logo to a rainbow. It's they've looked at elements of their brand that people know and are familiar with, and turned it into something that genuinely is meaningful. And they actually included a product that they spent the time researching and building, where all the minifigures are different colors of the rainbow as well, and that's a product that's obviously bought and sold, and so there's time and investment put into creating something there as well that's meaningful. There's strong messaging behind it as well, and then beyond that, money then from sales of that product then go back into the community to support change there as well. And I think that shows that they've really spent a lot of time and effort, not just coming up with everyone is awesome. It's a great idea, but they haven't just come up with a name and gone, there you go, we think everyone's awesome, and just stop there. They've spent real time and effort creating something in a business that they know has huge global impact, and taking the money from that and directing it into the community to genuinely try and make a change. So then they really put their money where their mouth is as well. So I think for me that is a great example of someone who's associated well with their brand, who's created something really positive, and who's making a genuine effort to make a contribution to the community. And that's what brands should be doing. And you don't have to do it at that scale. You don't have to go out and manufacture a new product. You don't have to put millions of dollars back into the community, but anything you can do to make a small difference authentically and genuinely is a great model. So I think Lego, I'm always biased with Lego, but I think as always, they've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, everyone is awesome indeed. That's all I can say. My last question for you would be, like, for the brands who are inauthentic in their support for any cause, and especially in the Pride month with Pride logos, like rainbow logos and everything. What do you think? There should be repercussions for such brands who do not genuinely support the cause?
Yeah, I know. I think should there be, to some extent, yes. I'm not going to say they should be in any way punished or fined or anything to that extent, but I think genuinely there are increasingly repercussions. I think the community pushback on brands that are not doing it authentically is far more obvious now than it ever has been. I think with the as I've said many times over the last 5 years or so, the power is really with the consumer these days. If a brand or an individual takes a significant misstep, that can be easily seen and called out on social media, and brands can be significantly damaged and have to spend a long time trying to recover. And if a brand is damaged, then if it gets damaged to a certain extent, then the actual income of that brand is going to be damaged as people stop buying their products and everything as well. So genuinely significant impact from misstepping here. So I wouldn't say there should be repercussions in terms of we should be doing something about it, other than if someone is doing this, I think we should stand up and point that out. I'm not saying don't buy their products or anything. I'm just saying if people are rainbow washing, call them out on it, and let's stop this stuff happening. Right? Let's start people making either an authentic contribution or stop pretending to make a contribution.
Yeah, this is one place I support the cancel culture. There should be some repercussions. And thank you so much for your time, Simon. It was lovely speaking with you.
As always.
I hope everybody had a great time listening to the podcast. And for more marketing tips and advice, subscribe us on YouTube and follow our podcast on Spotify and Apple. See you all the next time.